Hello and welcome to another Bodgit and Leggit video. Now today, what? Right, Stephen wants me to show you his impression of a teapot. Now look, there you go. He's been a teapot. Right, so Stephen's been thinking. Just show his thinking face. He's still learning, but he's getting there. I said, this is more of a thinking face, but you know, he's getting there. He's getting there. Right, what we're going to do today, we got a 2003 Volkswagen Golf. This happens to be 1.9 TDI, but they're all more or less the same. We're going to show you how to find out when a track rod end's gone and how to replace it. This one is really bad, so it's a really good one to show you on. If you're going to do one side, do both sides. It really is the best thing to do. When you do anything with your suspension at all, you have to get it tracked. We don't show tracking here because not everyone's going to have tracking gauges. So we'll show you how to get it really close and then go down to your local garage and get it tracked. You'll still save money, but you don't have to really pay for the tracking. At least you don't have to pay for everything else. And even if you think your car is fine, just get it tracked because you will do damage to your tyres very, very quickly. We have the tools on Stephen that we're going to use. And yeah, let's get stuck into it. Now for this particular job, this is what we're going to use. We've got a wire brush, 22mm spanner, 17mm socket for the wheels. We've got the lock nut there. We're using a battery powered gun. You can use an air gun or breaker bar or whatever. WD-40, and I think this is a 19mm socket. So that's all you need. So the first thing you want to do is grab the wheel and see if there's any movement left to right. Now, hopefully, if I put the camera mic up to that, you should hopefully hear the banging. Hopefully you can hear that. And you can physically see the movement in the wheel. Also, you can check the movement up and down. Normally, if you've got movement side to side and up and down, that could maybe be a wheel bearing, but side to side movement, and I'll rock the wheel and you can see exactly what's moving. Right, so you're underneath, and what you're looking at is the movement between here. Now on this one, you can see the actual boot is split, but not all the time the boot will be slipped. Slipped? The boot was actually cut, not slipped. Not all the time it will be though. And as you can see, as I rock the wheel, you can see the movement between the two. This one is bad, but at least you can actually see what's going on there. You need to be careful when you're using any sort of air tools or battery tools on locking nuts, because you can do an awful lot of damage. I've loosened that with a bar first on the bottom. What you want to do is make sure your keys in ignition and turn the wheel so it's fully locked, just so you can see this a lot easier. Right, what you want to do first is the threads that are showing, you want to get a wire brush and just knock off all the crap and crud in them first. Now this is more or less the same on most cars, just maybe different size bolts and stuff like that. And then squirt some lube on it. I'm using WD. Now give it time. Everyone's guilty of this. They just put it on and they take it off. Give it a few minutes to actually soak in and actually do something. So there we go. We just zoomed into it a bit more. You can actually see the WD ripping off. So I'm going to leave that for a few minutes and then we will crack on. Now, best thing to do is have a cup of the old Rosie Lee, leave it to settle in, and then come back to it. And you can even see the movement that's in that with me just even rocking the disc. It is quite bad. So what you need to do first is get your 22mm spanner, go underneath it, and what we're doing is just slacking off this adjuster nut here. So I've slackened it off, and what I want to do is I want to pull it back just so it hits the actual track rod end, but it's not tight, just so it actually hits it. So that's that done. And what we want to do is whip off this. This is where some sort of air gun or some sort of impact tool really does help, because these can spin and they're a nightmare. And with something kind of like this, oh, the camera zoomed in, it obviously goes a hell of a lot easier. Not guaranteed, but just a hell of a lot easier. And there we go. Sorted. Now we have to get a knockometer. This is a 4-ounce hammer, and hit. This one doesn't really matter because we're replacing it. So if you do slip and hit the threads, it's not the end of the world. But if you are not replacing it, then it is the end of the world. So what's the best thing to do is just screw the actual bolt back on. If you do slip, you're only going to hit the bolt, you're not going to hit the actual threads. Like I said, it doesn't make any difference to us. We could, if we really wanted to, hit this up this way. But the problem with doing that is if you spread that too much, it won't fit through. So just a few love taps. And there we go. This should now come up, as it does. Because we haven't, oh, let's get this in view. Because we haven't, we're just slacking this off. This should now come off, as you can see it does. And what it means is when we put the new one on, the new one's going to be more or less the same place as the old one. So it's good, the tracking is going to be very, very close. So it means you can go down the road to your local garage and actually get it tracked. And there we go. Now, you can see how much that rubber boot is actually split. And the movement, well, you're not going to be able to hear it, but there is a lot of movement there. It's sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. And there we go. Bang the new one on now. Right, so I've got the new one. This is how they come. Just take off the actual nut, and this plastic cover you need to remove. Don't leave that on. Now what you want to do is, certain cars like this one, there is a shape to it, so there's a left and a right. Some cars, they can go on both sides, but there is a left and a right, so you want to make sure you get it the right way. Also, what you want to make sure is it is the same length as the old one, because different makes might be different lengths and stuff, and that'll just cause you a problem for the kind of the next stage. Not the end of the world, but it'll just mean your tracking's way off. So, because we didn't move this here, we just left that bolt. All I'm going to do, if we just zoom you in, might be a bit better. So all I'm going to do is just screw this in till it hits the actual nut that we've left. Try and do this and get out the way of the camera if I can. Right, this is where it's important. And now I've just hit the actual nut. So this is the same length. Oh, it's in the same way as the old one. So what I want to do now is, as you can see, it's not properly turned. So I'm going to twist the whole thing to make the inner tie rod and the track rod end turn all together, and then I'm going to slot it in the hole. And what this does is, this has your tracking more or less right, say 95% or 90% right. Even if your tracking feels fine, you're still going to need to get it tracked. But at least this way, you'll be able to drive to wherever you're going and get this tracked properly. Now you do have to be careful with using an air tool or even a battery power tool, because this will just snap this clean off if I'm not careful. So I'm just going to get my lever and torque it to factory specs. Click, click. There we go. And then I'm going to go underneath and just give this a squeeze. Tight. Don't forget to do this, whatever you do. And there we go. And what you can actually do is, there's no play there at all. So we'll bang the wheel back on and you'll see what I mean. Now what I actually do is, like I said, you have to be very careful tightening these. I screw them in with the gun first, but I've got the gun on the lowest setting, and I let the car down and I just tighten them by hand. But I will not do it with the locking nut one. I'll just do it with the 4, and then this locking nut one, I'll screw it in, but I'll actually completely tighten it by hand. I will let this down and we'll do it by hand. I almost forgot to see if there's any play in it. As you can see, absolutely nothing. So there's no play. When you do actually do this, you don't want to move the wheel like this. You're just seeing if it rocks. And as you can see, there's just absolutely nothing there. Right, so that's it. I mean, it's more or less the same on every car, but that'll give you an idea. Once you're doing one side, always do the other side just to keep everything balanced. Get your car tracked no matter what you think. Even if you think your car is going straight, get it tracked because it won't be long before you destroy your tyres. It really is simple as that. Very simple tools. Just simple really. So look, hope it helps. Thumbs up, subscribe, all the usual. Don't forget all our links down below to our Facebook, Instagram and all that, and there'll be links up here and everything. So yeah, sorted. Say goodbye, Stephen. But most importantly, don't forget, get your hands dirty. See you for the next one.